Today we're continuing our discussion of exponents. Yesterday we started looking at possibly what some of the patterns were in our exponents. And so in today's notes I went ahead and put in part of the reference material that you will get on your district checkpoints and on your STAR. And these reference materials show the patterns or the rules that we had talked about for solving exponents. Now, I'm going to go back and say that in general, to keep from making any mistakes, expanding your exponents is the best way to go. But if you're one of the people that saw what the rules or what the pattern was for each kind, then using the patterns is perfectly okay. I just don't want people getting hung up on trying to memorize a bunch of rules for exponents when you can expand and not have to deal with any of that. However, if you like the rules or if you run into something where you can't figure out how to expand, you can always use these rules that are on your STAR reference material. Okay, so moving down a little bit, we're going to move on to the power of a power. So when we're looking at this, what we're talking about is we have something that's been raised to the exponent or raised to a power, and then that whole thing is put in parentheses and raised to the power again. So we're going to practice what this will look like to expand it. Now, just like we did yesterday, first you need to take care of your negatives and get rid of any zero exponents. So those don't change. It's just a little bit more that we're going to be working on today. Okay, so let's start with this very first one. We have r squared raised to the third power. So when I look inside the parentheses, there's nothing I need to deal with. I don't have any zero or negative exponents. So the way we're going to do this is just expand it. And what this is really saying is my little r squared here, this whole thing in parentheses, has to be done 3 times. So I'm going to start by just writing my parentheses 3 times. Now I can go ahead and put in the r squared to each one. And I've now taken care of the exponent raising to the power of 3, the outside exponent. Now I'm going to go ahead and just expand out all of my parentheses. So r squared is r times r, times r times r, times r times r. And if I look, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 r's, so I've got r raised to the 6th power. Okay, number 2. Again, I've got parentheses that are being raised to the power. But this time, inside my parentheses, I have something that needs to go ahead and be taken care of, which is the negative exponent. So I know that my parentheses are going to be done 2 times because it's been raised to the power of 2. But I need to put the correct thing in the parentheses, and I'm not going to put a negative exponent in the parentheses. So a to the negative 4, it's on top, it's unhappy, so we're going to put it on the bottom. So 1 over a to the 4th and 1 over a to the 4th. So I've taken care of my negative exponent, and I've taken care of the outside or the biggest power. Now I can go ahead and expand out my 2 parentheses. So this is really 1 over a times a times a times a times 1 over a times a times a times a. So my answer to this, I'm going to write it over here, is 1 over a to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, to the 8th power. I'm going to put my 8 there. That's my answer. Now, number 3, the reason this is an example is because we've got a coefficient. So if we're looking inside this parentheses, the internal or the inside exponent is only attached to the x. So how many times are we going to do our parentheses? We're going to do them 3 times. So let's go ahead and start with that. So we have parentheses, parentheses, and parentheses. And what goes inside them are 2x cubed, 2x cubed, and 2x cubed. Okay, so now we've taken care of the first raised to the power. Now let's just expand out what we have in each one of our parentheses. So to expand these out, I've really got 2 times x times x times x. Let's put little dots there. Times 2 times x times x times x. And the last time, times 2 times x times x times x. Now remember from yesterday, this is kind of our caution. I'm going to put a little caution symbol here because we're dealing with coefficients also. And this is all multiply. So I'm going to just write this, multiply coefficients. So remember to multiply your coefficients. So I've got 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 more is 8. So my coefficients come out to 8, and then I need to count my x's. I've got x 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So x to the 9th power. And that's my answer. So the biggest thing you need to remember when you're raising a power to the power is to take care of the coefficients. Make sure you multiply 2 times 2 times 2, because that's the biggest mistake that I see on that. Okay, so now let's move to a couple more examples. On number 5, we've got negative 4d in parentheses raised to the power of 4. So we are going to start out by writing our parentheses. And how many times do we write our parentheses? Is 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to put my negative 4d inside each one. Okay, and now we're ready to multiply our coefficients. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16, times negative 4 is negative 64, times negative 4 is positive 256. And then I have d to the 1, 2, 3, 4th power. So d to the 4th power. Okay, number 6 is a little different. What's different about number 6 is it's being raised to a negative exponent. So we're going to first get rid of that negative exponent before we do anything else. So to get rid of our negative exponent, we're going to put everything on the bottom. Negative 3f raised to the 3rd power. When I moved it to the bottom, it became a positive exponent. So we'll just start expanding these out. We have 1 over negative 3f. That's our parentheses one time. Parentheses again, 1 over negative 3f. And our parentheses a third time, 1 over negative 3f. And now it's time to just take them across, multiply. 1 times 1 times 1 is still 1. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Times negative 3 again is negative 27. And then we have f to the 1, 2, 3, f to the 3rd power. And that's our answer. Okay, for number 7, we're going to do our parentheses 2 times. So 1, 2. We have x to the 3rd over y, and x to the 3rd over y. And when we're expanding these, we're multiplying 2 fractions. When you multiply fractions, they become 1 fraction. So we're going to expand it with everything that's on top. So x to the 3rd 2 times, and everything that's on bottom. And we have nothing on top to bottom we can cancel out, so we just write our answer. X to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th power over y to the 2nd power. And that's our answer. Okay, and our last one is going to be number 8. Again, we're writing our exponents or our parentheses 2 times. So we have 3x squared over y cubed z. And again, 3x squared over y cubed z. When I expand this out, I'm going to put them all on one line. So 3xx times 3xx over yz, yz. And all that's left is to combine it. Our coefficients, we're still multiplying, so 3 times 3 is 9. And then we have x to the 1, 2, 3, 4th power. And the whole thing is over y to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th power, z to the 1, 2 power. And that's our answer. Okay, as long as you make sure to take your time and expand things out, keeping everything on either the top or bottom where it belongs, canceling out only if you have a top and a bottom, you'll be fine on exponents.